Hi, my name is Pam Denny. I'm the designer and architect of the Maximo BI tools. With the Maximo 7.6 release, we've added many new features related to BI and data analysis. Some of those new features are in the ad hoc area where users can create their own reports on the fly. And we've added new features relating to calculations and summaries. While adding these new features, we also always want to keep an eye on performance because we want to make sure when our users are creating the reports, they can get them when they need. So we need to ensure that the system is performing at that optimal level. So with that in mind, we have introduced a new feature in 7.6 called Preview Limits for our ad hoc reporting. And let me highlight this capability by signing into Maximo. Now, a scenario that you might have is you have many different users with many different skill sets and many different job responsibilities. Well, let's imagine that Mike Wilson comes in to the work order tracking application. He doesn't have a filter and he has all of a sudden all records at 2,300 records. He doesn't know what he needs, but he knows he needs a lot of information from Maximo. So without really thinking, he's going to come in here, he's going to add all the fields from work order tracking, he's going to come down to asset, and he says he needs everything. No matter what the field is, he's going to add it. And he's going to keep coming down, and he's going to build and build upon the content to his individual report. So all of a sudden you can see very quickly he can build up a lot of content. He can have over 200, in almost this case over 300 records against a very large record set. And as he clicks preview, as he builds his report, the performance can slow down, right? And he can impact other users because he's building such a gigantic report because he doesn't necessarily know what he needs. So instead of allowing him to do that, we can set a preview limit. And so now let's switch gears and pretend we're the administrator, and let's go over to report administration and show what that is. So in 7.6 there's a new dialog. It's called set security group limits. I went to the wrong one. And what this is it enables you to set those performance enablers so users don't get into trouble. The first one that I have is up here is the Ad Hoc Preview Limit. So for all my users that I have granted the ad hoc access to, I can say for each individual security group what the limit should be when they're previewing the report. So in this case, let me do a filter on Max Admin, and let's imagine that this user, I really want to keep an eye on what he's doing. I'm going to put in a value like 50. Some security groups who have access to ad hoc reporting may not have a limit. Other ones may have in the couple hundred range. Again, it really depends on the security group. For those that you want to be cautious of, definitely set a limit here. And then just to highlight the other features of this dialog, scheduled report, that forces a user to manage his report schedules. Oftentimes we find users schedule a report and after a while they never use the output, but that report continues to consume resources. So this enables him to manage that. And then the report server limits, that's the catastrophic value to prevent massive report values. And again, you're going to set that value very high for a subset of your users. So after I've set the limit, I need to sign out of Maximo. Anytime when you're unsure of whether or not you need to sign out, I always encourage people to do it. It's very quick and easy. So now again, let's see, I'm in that same exact scenario that I started with. I'm in work order tracking. I'm really busy, but I think I need everything, so I'm just going to come in, again, select all records. That's going to bring me up to 2,300. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to create a report, come over to the Content tab. Let's grab all those records from work order tracking and build up this content. But then all of a sudden when I click preview, it's not going to let me execute a report. It's going to say, hey, we set the value that your record set has to be less than 50. Reduce your query, and then you can run the preview report and also save it. So let me do that here. Let me come back. I'm going to just do a filter here, 113, do another filter on site Bedford. So I know I need to be under that 50 record value. Again, I'm just showing this. It's probably not a realistic value, but again, just trying to show how this interacts with the user. So now he comes to create a report. It's not going to be a problem at all because I'm going to say give it a title and save it because I'm under 50, right? I have 20 in my record set. Again, if I did the same thing, add all the fields just to show, and now I'm going to actually run this report to show you that it's going to enable me to get past that 50 record value because I'm only at 20, which was my 20 was my application record set, 50 was my value. It's going to go off, it's going to create the report, and there it is when it displays all my fields. If I go down to the very bottom, I'll see that 20 records that I have. But I also want to highlight here is after I've saved it, let's look at it in Report Admin. I think that's a very, very important point. I could probably get here quicker, wrong place, by just going to my recent applications, Report Admin, excuse me. Let's come up here, let's filter on Created By. That'll enable me to very quickly find that report. Here's the performance one that I saved. And notice what happens over here. I executed it against the 20 records, but it saves my preview limit as the max record value to the ad hoc report. So this is a new feature, again in 7.6. When I save my ad hoc report and I have a preview limit, that preview limit is saved with the saved ad hoc report. So that's really nice for my admin. If my admin wants, he can take this off. It doesn't have to stay there. All I would need to do is regenerate the request page. And the other thing that I want to highlight while we're here is the saved where clause. This is now exposed for 7.6, the report administrator, so he can start to see the types of ad hoc reports his user is creating. Why is this important? Well, if I was an admin and I came in here and I saw an ad hoc report, maybe it didn't have a limit record set, and maybe I saw no where clause, then I know definitely there's going to be a performance issue at some point in time, so I could come in then and set that value to whatever I wanted it to be, say 200 records or 250, and then save it. So again, what I've highlighted here today is the new preview record limit functionality that's available to be set for any of your users who utilize the ad hoc reporting capability. It's in the new Set Security Group dialog, and that will be impacted, or the user, or that functionality will come into play when the user is creating and previewing his ad hoc report, and then it is saved to the saved ad hoc report. So thank you very much for your time. Again, that's a new feature in Maximo 7.6.